calling you? What did you make me do? What did I do? You didn't hear me calling you?
I'm sorry.
Huh?
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. I guess I was just preoccupied thinking about
Shut
myself.
up. You know I didn't mean to hit you. But I don't like when you ignore me. Feels like you were ignoring me.
I wasn't. I promise.
What you gonna do now? Call the police?
No, I told you I won't call the police on you.
You gonna put the police in our business? You know what they would do to me? Talk about police brutality. You know what they would do to me? Do you?
I promise I won't.
I'm sorry. I don't like hitting you. I didn't mean to hit you. Vicky, I'm sorry. This is the last time I'll hit you. I promise. I'm sorry. You know, you having my child. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. You know I loved your mother. I loved your mother, okay? I'm sorry. This is the last time I'll hit you. I promise. Forgive me? I know you're going through a lot. I understand. I completely understand.
I'm sorry. I know you don't mean it.
Of course not. The best thing that's ever happened to me, Victoria. You forget it? Sure.
That bastard. Yeah, so heavy. Yeah, so that is a clip. I wanted to make sure that I provided that trigger warning because I noticed that was some sensitive content. So that was a clip from um a diary of an accomplice that is directed by our next guest who is here in the building. I'm sorry for our tardiness, but I'm here with my bra on so I can make sure that I present myself to you, introduce to others, filmmaker, writer, director, and just all around cool guy. So I thank you. I thank him so much for coming on my platform with me, and we are definitely going to do a deeper dive into what you just saw as well. So please just give it up for Matthew Kenner, y'all. And there he is in the building, Mr. Matthew Kenner, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being in the building. And just let you know that Matthew is a character playing that role. So please don't try to meet him outside, okay? So I just wanted to make sure I give that disclaimer because, a lot of people take a lot of these things seriously. They kind of forget, that you have to separate the two. All
Right.
right. And I just want to also, I want to beg everyone's pardon in advance because I'm having some computer issues. Like, there's some, freezing and some, areas where it's been frozen and stuck so just pardon that. All right. So, Matthew Kenner, how are you this evening? I know you pressed for time, so I'm not going to hold you, but I just want to know how are you doing this evening?
I'm good, Faith. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, yes, thank you for being here, my little piece of platform. And shout out to Miss Stevie. Yes, Miss Stevie in the building. Yeah, there she is. Yeah, because like I said, it's like this computer's been moving slow. My internet's been acting up these last few days. So, like I said, please excuse that. He said that you made us so mad at you at like that movie. So make sure you check it out. I mean, so that obviously he's good at what he does. If he's going to make you that upset in your feelings, you need to check that movie out. All right. So yeah. So Matthew, I really love to hear the backstories of the guests that come on. I really enjoy the memories that I get the type of background you came from. I know, so Milwaukee, correct?
Yes, yes,
Right.
ma'am.
So
Milwaukee,
I want
Wisconsin.
to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I want to know, like, give me the meat and potatoes of your upbringing, whether it was a single parent household, two parent household, siblings, cousins, buck beds, did you come from, that side, or some people, like I said, come from the other side of the fence where they had more privilege. So I want you to kind of get into the memories of it all and just kind of what molded you.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like those kind of questions.
Yes.
I was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I come from interracial my parents are interracial relationship.
Okay. How so?
So my father's black, African American, foundational Black American. Then my mother is Caucasian. So they met in school. They actually both went to college. They're both from Illinois originally, but they went to college.
Mm,
They met in Wisconsin here. So we grew up. Actually, both my parents are educators, and my mother is a teacher,
nice.
and my dad worked for a local technical college as like a counselor, like a student advisor. He did different jobs when I was a kid, but they both ended up being educators. So we grew up in I guess you could say middle class family. When I was little, we had less money, but as I got older, my parents started making more money. So I grew up in a two-parent household. I'm the oldest of three. I have two younger sisters, so I'm the only boy.
Uh,
And I grew up around a lot of women. I had my dad, but I grew up with a lot of female cousins, girl cousins, and my grandmothers were, a big part of my life. And my mother was a big influence in my life as well. My parents were strict. I got in trouble a lot as a kid. I used to
mm,
a lot of physical discipline, belts, slaps,
yeah,
physical
yeah. Oh, you
beatings.
got those
And
whoopings.
yep, yep. And for the most part, when I was little, I was pretty quiet. I was shy. I wasn't that outgoing, like
So what
especially.
you was doing? What did you do to get those whoopings?
I mean, I was bad at home, but at school I was
Ah,
cool. So
okay.
I was made fun of a lot as a kid. Like in grade school, I was quiet. I was an introvert. People thought I was weird because I was very shy. I was very self-conscious, and I would just do things that kind of made me look socially awkward. So I didn't have a lot of confidence growing up when I was young because of those things, because of teachers. Teachers would yell at me a lot, especially in grade school. From grade school up till early high school, teachers
Mm,
to yell at me a lot. I got diagnosed with attention deficit disorder as a
mm,
teenager. They tried to drug me up, and
mhm.
so I dealt with a lot of adults yelling at me, other kids trying to make fun of me. So I developed kind of an exterior of well, I didn't carry myself with a lot of confidence, but I developed this mean exterior for a while. And but I
Mhm,
really
defense
wasn't.
mechanism. Mhm.
Yeah, it's a defense mechanism. And I learned how to fire back and make fun of people in self-defense. But I dealt with a lot of bullies growing up. So I kind of had trouble, and I still carry this into my adulthood. Like I had trouble setting boundaries with people because what I thought were appropriate boundaries were, I could be nice, I could be kind, or show people that softer side of me. But as soon as they do something I don't like, that I feel is like over the top, then I'll set a boundary by being extremely aggressive in
Mm,
the opposite way. But a lot of times I'll allow it to go too far before I set that boundary. So I'll be nice,
mm.
nice. And then when they get to the point where I just feel like they really disrespected me, then I'll fire
To be
back
explosive. Mm,
anger. And then
mhm.
people will act like, oh, what's wrong with him? But I didn't set that boundary early enough. So
Yes.
my childhood was filled with me being too nice to a lot of people. And then when it get to a certain point where I felt just like extremely disrespected, then I would just like go off. And then people acted like I had anger problems. So
Mhm.
a lot of my childhood dealt with that, but then at the same time, I did have a lot of fun playing with my friends that I grew up with in my neighborhood. We rode bikes, we jumped off of, we made ramps, and we jumped off of ramps. We wrestled, and
Oh,
we
good.
played
Yes, yes.
Ninja Turtles, and we did karate. fights and
Yes.
house. I mean, we had a lot of fun.
Love it. Love it.
It was just in school is where I struggled a lot. I wasn't a very good student, but in high school is when I kind of, because I went to a creative arts school in grade school, I had a drama class, and I had always had a very crazy active imagination. That is what planted the seed for me to desire to be an actor.
Okay. All right, and we'll get right to that. Yeah, we're gonna get right to that. But I just when you was talking, Matthew, about your childhood and how you that social awkwardness, and I always try to make more people aware of that because when you was describing that, it really resonated with me because
Mhm.
I can relate so much to that. Even now, it's like, I think a lot of people um growing up, and I'm going to, just be a little bit transparent here, just real quick, because I know you, but just growing up and people, thinking I'm slow, I've
Mhm.
got retarded,
Same here.
common as well,
Yep.
or they, just was like, oh, you're so weird, and I'm so odd, so, you know, and the social awkwardness. And I didn't know that was a thing until I read. I don't know if you heard of this online magazine called Madame Noir.
I have heard
And
of it. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, and they had an article about that social awkwardness, and I was like, oh, okay. And okay, so yeah, so I get where you're coming from, and also as a result, my defense mechanism was being aggressive. Like I didn't take no ish from anybody. I was just like,
Mhm.
you come at me, what?
Uh,
No, 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 so it was just, but I knew to try to learn how to, pick my battles, more and not to always think that everybody's against me. But that was hard to do. But
oh
yes,
yeah.
I always want to just kind of relate to
Right.
that. But yeah, but thank you so much for sharing your memories because I love to hear that. That's what I've been wanting to hear the karate and the playing, playing Ninja Turtles and all that stuff. So I really enjoy that. That's what I want to hear. Those memories. I
Right.
like
Yeah.
to hear that. And also you talk about okay. And I also wanted to touch on the biracial aspect because I meant to ask my pastor this. My pastor is also half and half.
Okay.
He's also a swirl. He's a swirl baby too. Shout out to Pastor Van Burton. Yeah. So I meant to ask him like, what is because you said you was teased a lot, and I don't know whether you had certain kids that would get the impression that you was better than them or something because you had lighter skin or something like that. But just the biracial aspect. Give me your biracial aspect of growing up.
Oh yeah. So I didn't know I was mixed until I was about like in first grade.
Mhm.
Because I didn't, as a kid, you don't really think about color, but I grew up around mostly, black people, but in my neighborhood, we did have a good mix. I had white friends also when I was younger. Then the white families moved out,
Good,
and it
good.
was mostly it was mostly
Yeah.
black. I grew up around mostly black people after that. So I got a lot of people asking questions about my hair, asking questions, are you mixed? What are you? Are you black or white? Like, what are you? I can't tell what you are, but I did get a lot of teasing, a lot of jokes, especially in my teenage years. More so like middle school age. I got a lot of friends, even so-called friends, calling me half breed, calling me mutt, calling me
Mm,
telling me I ain't black, calling me white boy. And me having a mother who is a teacher, who's a white woman, who's a teacher, that, and who also worked in public schools, who had
right.
black students. I talked so-called, proper compared
Hmm.
to a lot of my
Yeah.
peers.
That means, well, in layman's terms, talking white, in layman's terms,
Exactly,
according to,
exactly.
let them tell it. Yeah, I get it.
Right. I heard that all the time. On top
Yeah,
of being called retarded, by certain people and teachers actually legitimately thinking I'm slow. Like my third
yeah,
grade
yeah,
teacher coming to my house to talk to my
yeah.
parents.
The adults are the worst. Hmm.
Right. So like it
Hmm.
was my third grade teacher in particular. Like she really suggested that I be in a slow class and would come and meet with my parents at the house and did a lot of stuff that really affected my confidence. So like it allowed me to use my imagination to escape the reality of like how it was perceived as at that age. I would imagine myself being like an action hero or being the coolest guy in the world, being James Bond or something like that, or being one, Raphael from the Ninja Turtles or something like that as a kid. And I wasn't made fun of at all. So like I would always daydream and I always escape, you know, how I felt at the time. You know, nobody called me slow in this alternate reality.
Right. Yeah, it's
Nation.
so crazy, Matthew. Because I mean, wow, I'm just like, I'm sorry, because it's like, you really like just really bringing up a lot of memories because I didn't like even as I got older, as I transitioned from high school to college, and
Mhm.
there were people that were actually complimenting me, and I could not receive it, Matthew, at all.
Mhm.
I did not think it was sincere because I'm so used to, like you said, this, being called slow or fat and black, because you had the opposite of
Yeah,
what
right.
I had the tar baby. I was called ghost. I was blackie. I was black spook and tar baby. Yeah, yeah. And so when I got into college, transitioning, and I was blossoming, and I slimmed down, and they was like, "Oh, you know what's funny? Um, during my senior year of high school, there was the staff that are in charge of like the graduation, making arrangements and like kind of like guidance counselors, so to speak. They were
Mm.
actually white, Matthew. They were actually white. They were the first ones that complimented me on my complexion.
Oh wow. Okay.
They were the first, they were the first ones. They were white, older white, one man and a woman. They complimented me on my complexion, and they just kept doing it. And I'm like, wow, really? And so as
First
I got into
impression.
college, I was just like, it was hard for me to accept. It was so hard for me to accept, like, oh God, you're so beautiful, you beautiful chocolate skin and this, that. And I'm like, what?
Are you
Beautiful
messing with
chocolate?
me?
I'm like, right. I'm like, beautiful and chocolate and beautiful and dark skin never really mixed with me. So I'm just,
Uh,
but so when you was, you speaking on this is, it's crazy. But I'm also glad that you identify as biracial, by the way. I'm glad you said that because so many people, they always say, well, if you have a drop of black, you black.
yeah.
I'm like, you can't just dismiss who you are,
Right.
and you
Yeah.
can't dismiss your Caucasian persuasion side. So
Right.
I'm glad that you said biracial. Yes, I
Well, I
wanted to.
do. I do class. I'm not gonna lie. I do classify as a black male, but that's because of America's standards. You know, when you're you live in a country like in America, you are classified as being black if you're because that's another
Right.
thing I didn't touch on. But my mother's side of the family, I was very close with my grandma on that side of the family, but like the other family members, they always I remember being referred to as being black by them and by other white people. They would always call me black. Like I was never, they
And
never
because you were darker skin, because you had darker hue than they did, it was more pale skin, maybe.
right, my white family members or just
Right,
white people in
right.
general, but they
Yeah,
they would
yeah,
they would never classify me as being mixed or biracial. They wouldn't own it's like they wouldn't
I was
own
gonna
me.
say that. Was it because of acceptance wise? I was
That's
gonna
what it
ask
seemed
that.
like. Like I've always
Yeah,
been, you're one of them. If you're got any drop of blood, if you're part whatever, if you're anything other than white, if you're mixed with anything other than white, you're that other group. You're not white. Okay, maybe your mother is white. I always dealt with that. And then when I
yeah.
joined the military when I was 19, I was around mostly, white guys from like Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, places like that where there weren't any black people, and they were some of the most racist guys
I
in
can
my life.
imagine.
And they, the way they would act when they would be around each other was just like something I hadn't really experienced before, like growing up.
Mhm.
Because growing up here, there weren't a lot of white kids that were bold enough to insult black kids openly
Right.
because they weren't the
Yeah.
majority. But white
Mhm.
kids did have jokes. They did have jokes about someone like me being whatever I am, having curly hair and whatnot. So
Mhm.
I dealt with it from both sides. But the first time somebody referred to me as black, I was in the 7th grade, and there was this dude. He was like an older kid. He was going around in the hallway being goofy, but he was going up and going boo, boo to like different people in the hallway. And then he came up to me and went boo, and then he said, "Oh, you black," and then he walked away. So I guess he was going up to all the white kids and trying to scare them or something like that. And then he looked at me and said, "Oh no, no, you black." Oh yeah. So I'm like, that was the first time somebody referred to me
Okay.
as being black, and it was like in 7th grade. I was 13. I remember feeling good about it, like, oh, damn, okay, all right. It's the first time, a black kid has called me black, or like, so from that point on, I always heard, oh yeah, yeah, it don't matter if you mixed or you still black,
Yeah.
you still black, you still, so then I started hearing that from now on, and I remember feeling good when I heard that for the first time.
I mean, it's yeah, but I just still feel like, I think that you should still be able to identify
Oh yeah,
whatever, like you shouldn't need it, you shouldn't have to conform to a standard. I
right,
mean, that's
true,
just my opinion.
exactly,
You shouldn't.
exactly. Yep.
But on that note, because I want to make sure that I hit the high points. So I
Mhm.
just want to ask you this. Do you believe, because this is something that's been talked about, and I totally disagree with this. Do you believe that Black people can be racist?
So Black people can be bigoted, but racism, in my opinion, and what I've kind of learned is you have to have some kind of power over other groups of people or society to be racist. And we don't have, our demographic does not have that kind of power in this society to be denying people, home loans and affecting their education and their district where they vote at, and poisoning people's food and affecting people's water supplies and doing different things like that. We're barely affecting the hiring of employees. That's kind of a rare thing too, even in modern day society. So to be racist, no, not with the current circumstances or way the world has been over the past 500 plus years. But bigoted, yes, absolutely. We can be mean and hateful towards one another and towards other groups of people as well. And I've experienced it, but racist, no, because of the way society is run. I would say no.
Okay. No, that was a good answer, well said, but I just feel like, and I do feel like the bigoted part I do agree with. And also there is some levels of exclusivity that we do maintain as Blacks as well that we got to do
Mhm.
better on.
Right.
Because I personally believe that integration is not always ideal, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. Right. Right.
That's
Yeah.
just, but yeah, but no, but I like that answer, by the way.
Thank you.
But yeah, and so I like, you made a good segue, by the way. You was talking about how you was more accepted in junior high school. And I'd like to get into the elementary, junior high school phase real quick,
Mhm.
because that's a whole level of self-discovery that we don't talk about. And I
Mhm.
love to hear those memories as well as self-discovery. Because again, I always tell my guests about how we, discovered, our men, girls with their menstrual cycles, and boys with their testosterone, puberty, acne, into building up your social skills, or or lack thereof. You're humping in the staircase, and you're doing all kind of mischievous things. So I want to know what your experience was like during that high school and junior high school. Like, give us that self-discovery. Did you join any clubs? Did you get into any extracurricular activities? And just also explore the other things I was talking about as well.
Yeah. So in middle school and high school, I was always basketball was my favorite pastime.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
always playing mostly on the playground, with my friends.
Were you
I,
really good? Mm.
I was good enough, like so. I got good. I got good throughout my from ages like 13 to 16. I got good, but I lacked confidence that I never made my high school basketball team. So that
Mm.
really affected me. And I went around keeping that a secret for the longest time that I got cut. Got cut from tryouts during high school for basketball tryouts. Even though
Oh.
I was good enough to make it. I just didn't expose that to the coaches. And so what I did is I played a lot of basketball during middle school and high school, mostly pickup ball. And I was not confident when it came to like talking to girls. I always,
Oh, you was because you still shy? You were still shy then?
yeah, I was, especially when it came to girls. Like I didn't really know because I saw the guys that were popular and wore earrings and dressed in certain ways,
Mhm.
and they always had the confidence to be talking to girls and having girls like them. And I had girls thinking I was cute and calling me
Mhm.
all that stuff. And I remember when I was in sixth grade, when I first got to middle school, there were some eighth grade girls that were going up to me, pinching my cheeks and calling me cute all the time. And then one of them, I thought she was very, I liked her because she would always give me attention. I thought she was pretty, but she would always give me a kiss on the cheek every day when I would go to my locker. but it never went beyond that.
Never went beyond that.
Yeah, she
Oh,
was in 8th grade. I was in 6th grade, but I got a good amount of that, but I didn't get, plus I had like strict parents, so I didn't get to hang out and go hang out with the girls and do things with them outside of like school and stuff like that, like, you know, the way I wanted to. So a lot of my self-discovery was understanding that I am better than I think I am. And there's no reason for me to really
yes.
the confidence that I had. And
Oh, so you're able to come to that at that time. Oh,
not necessarily, but I
oh,
did.
oh,
The seed was planted. The seed was
okay,
planted,
okay.
and I did have that confidence in the back of my mind, but it didn't really blossom till I was grown.
Okay.
But I used those memories from middle school to help remind myself of who
Okay.
I am.
Got you.
Of who I am. Like I am somebody, you know, special. I am somebody worth, you know, paying attention to and getting to know, and somebody I'm worth admiring or looking up to, and, you know, different things like that. But a lot of my middle school years and beginning of high school were realizing that I'm not this little soft, quiet guy that can be pushed around. Like I pretty much learned to stand up for myself during those times.
Right, because you got fed up enough. Yeah.
I got fed up enough, and then I realized also that I can fight. Like I didn't really.
I got hands. Okay, I can use.
I didn't really realize I could fight until I was probably like 13. I always thought that because I'm, you know, little and I'm quiet, that I was nothing special or nothing important. But I realized when I would roughhouse with people or people mess with me and we slap box or something, I realized, oh, wait a minute, I can beat people up. Like I can beat the majority of my peers.
Oh, that's a self-discovery right there. Yeah.
Right. And it really helped me discover more self-confidence. And now I went up in waves, you know, throughout my childhood. I would have confidence at one moment, then the next year,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
grade, I'd have no confidence. So it kind of just like fluctuated the entire time. High school was pretty challenging. My first 2 years in high school, I went to one school that I ended up going to a different school my junior and senior year. And when I transferred, so my high school, my sophomore year in high school, I actually skyrocketed. My confidence skyrocketed. I ended up getting into a fight with this one kid who ran up on me in class. He in front of the whole class. He tried to embarrass me. He thought he could beat me.
Oh, wait a minute. So Matthew, before we get let me go back to that. But you didn't help in the staircase at that time. You ain't help in the staircase.
No, I didn't. I was a virgin.
You know, you didn't. No, but you know, you could be a virgin and dry hump in the staircase. I mean, you could be a virgin for that.
I was kissing like on the school bus.
Oh,
like
you kissed. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
at least you did that. Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah,
Okay, I was
actually did that in grade school.
curious.
I did that grade school actually. So
All right, so
that
you
kinda
got to
early.
this fight. Yeah, because this kid effed around and found out. Go ahead.
Yeah, so he was the friend of, so my girlfriend I had at the time, she had a best friend, and this dude was her boyfriend. And I guess he thought I was soft or something.
Soft.
So
Yeah.
he had heard that I was talking about him or this and that. Some of my friends were talking about him and clowning him. So he had heard that I said some stuff about him too or whatever. And he decided to confront me in front of the whole class. As soon as I walked into class, everybody sitting down, he was like, blah, blah, blah. I heard you was talking shit, blah, 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 this and that. And I said, what? And I'm everybody's putting on the show, so I'm talking back. I'm like, man, I'm telling him to shut up, whatever. I'm dismissing him. And he gets up and he's like, what? I hit you in your eye or something like that. And he started like walking towards me, acting like he was walking out of the class. But then he turned and started walking towards me. And then he brought his hand all the way back like this, like he was swinging at me. And he was swinging at me like in slow motion, like, and I saw it coming. And I was bop right in his eye. And then he swung at me again, and I bop right in the same eye.
Right.
And he was light skinned. He was actually probably a little lighter than me, but his eye was super red. And I remember the teacher grabbed him and pulled him out of the classroom. And everybody was like, and when I did that, I didn't think much of it. I just thought, whatever, no big deal. But everybody in the class was shocked, like,
ooh, yeah.
Wait, oh, I didn't know you hit him hard. Like, I didn't know you could fight. I didn't know you could do this. I didn't know you could do that. Everybody was shocked that I could fight.
Yes.
All of a sudden. I'm like, what?
Yeah. No, it's good to be underestimated. I like that.
Right. So, but I was
Yeah.
shocked that everybody
Yeah.
thought I couldn't fight or something. And this
Mhm.
wasn't like a shock to me, but everybody all of a sudden was like, "Oh, don't mess with him. He'll beat you up. Oh, don't do this. He'll knock you out. Oh, Matt will knock you out. Oh, don't mess with him." Everybody all of a sudden started giving me props and cracking jokes and saying, "Oh yeah, stay with. I don't want you to beat me up. I don't want you to beat me up," and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, "What?"
Yeah.
So the
Put some
whole
respect.
right, put some respect on my name. So like
Yeah.
the rest of the school year, everybody kind of like showed me respect all of a sudden. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I was still the same old me. So, but then I ended up going to another school. My junior year, I transferred schools, and my confidence just went down right after that.
Why?
I felt out of place. I didn't feel real like I clicked with a lot of people there. I even had old classmates from middle school that went to this school, and I just didn't click with them like we did in middle school. And I felt, I just felt like I was like a new kid, so people were kind of looking at me and whispering about me, like, saying negative stuff, and I just really didn't feel like myself. And then on top of that, um, and
Yeah.
well, hey,
You ain't
I
shit
didn't
up.
ask. She didn't ask. So. But
There you have it.
right. But then on top of that, that's when I got cut from the basketball team. So that really messed.
Oh, and why was that?
I just wasn't focused. Like I was missing layups during drills or missing shots from like the free throw line. We do little drills, and
So what threw you off your square? Like, what make you? I mean, in your perspective, I mean, do you have an idea what threw you off your square?
I was so worried about what the coaches thought that I'm going to end up playing in a certain way and not showing what I'm truly capable of. I was in my head. I was just like, oh, I'm finally able to showcase what I'm going to do. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up, Matt. And then I caused myself to mess up. And it was just real ridiculous. Like, it sounds ridiculous when I say it now, but
yeah, you just applying pressure to yourself.
I applied unnecessary pressure to myself, and I just wasn't showcasing what I was able to truly do. And I got cut. Like, they didn't me. So I remember the coach telling me I need to work on my game. And I'm like, that's all I did all summer. That's all I did is work on my game and shoot around every day. So I was very frustrated. It really hurt my confidence. And then I just did not really feel like I didn't really feel like I found that group of friends to really click with while I was there that year. So it wasn't until my senior year that my confidence went back up. I started becoming more, like popular. I started having more associates and friends. I started having more girls look at me and, give me compliments and things like that. So,
were you humping then? Did you start dry humping then?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Honestly, it wasn't until after high school that I really started finding my groove with. Well, yeah, that too, but finding my groove with.
Okay, with yeah, and that usually does happen. Yeah.
But like, I knew plenty of dudes that got all the girls in high school, and I wanted to be one of them. But that wasn't me. Like, I had girls that gave me compliments and paid attention to me, or things like that. But I didn't have that confidence in high school, and I was still growing into who I was going to be. And it wasn't until I got out of high school, and definitely after I joined the military, that I really started getting a lot of girls and just being, loose and sowing my raw oats and doing all that.
Your excuse humping. You was doing all kind of left, right, left.
Wasn't dry. Right, it wasn't dry.
No, it wasn't. Oh no, I get it. Yeah, right. So yeah, we'll get into that because you joined the military right after high school, right after you graduated?
Actually, no, it was a year. I went to actually the same college, the technical college that my dad worked at for a year.
Okay, and what college is that?
School. It's called Milwaukee Area Technical College. So I wasn't really, I was skipping class, and I was hanging out with people. People were smoking weed and drinking, and I was kind of, I wasn't big into that, but I was hanging out with the people that were doing that. I was just around them while they were doing it, but I wasn't really smoking and drinking myself, but I was just hanging out with the people that did all that. And I was, I was playing a lot of basketball, but I wasn't doing nothing with my life. And I had talked to recruiters while I was in high school, but I had been procrastinating and I just didn't. I told them, oh, I want to go to school for a year first before making a decision to join and this and that. So I was kind of pissing the recruiters off and stalling. So I went to school for a year. And my dad worked there, and he'd see me sometimes in like the student hangout union area, and he'd act, aren't you supposed to be in class? He would get on my case about it. So finally, I had another recruiter show up to the school, that's the college I was going to, and I talked to him and said, oh, I've been talking to Sergeant so-and-so at your office, before. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know them. And then I started dealing with this recruiter. So after a few months of kind of being indecisive with this same recruiter, he used this takeaway, this Jedi mind trick to get me to join. He was like, sooner or later, other recruiters, like the big higher ups going to come in and they're going to look at your card, your file, and say, he's been talking to, our recruiters for about 2 years now, since he was a junior in high school, and indecisive, and doesn't look like he's serious about joining. And they're going to look at your card and they're going to tear it up.
Oh, master manipulator. Yeah.
Master manipulator. And he's like, knowing damn well that the military is always
they
joining.
Yeah, there's no time limit.
Ain't no time limit. I was only 18 going on 19 at the time. So he told me that. And I was like, oh, I got to join. That means I got to join. I got to act now.
Oh. So why did you join though? Like why? I mean, overall, why did you decide to join?
So I joined because I wanted to do something with I didn't feel like college was, I didn't like school growing up.
Right, for you.
I didn't feel like college was really for me at that age. I know I needed to get out of here, get out of Milwaukee, my hometown. I had childhood friends and different people that I had known that were going to jail and people dying and getting shot and different things like that. And I wanted no parts of that happening to me. So I just felt like I had to get out of this environment or this city and do something with my life. I wanted to travel. I wanted to also learn how to shoot guns, and I wanted people to look at me as a tough guy. I wanted to feel like a tough guy. So I was just like, yeah, the military sounds interesting to me. I had read a book. I joined the Marines. I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. Yeah.
You went there. Oh, wow. They don't play. Iraq. Oh, yeah. They don't. You was. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. Yes. Talk about that.
So Iraq was, I wasn't like on the front line, but I was in logistics. So we would get bombed a lot. It was hot. It was 120 degrees every day. Always out there sweating and working and, having to wear all this gear, just these helmets and flak jackets to, protect ourselves. But it was usually during the nighttime where we would get bombed and attacked. And we just had to be somewhere safe to, make sure we weren't getting blown up. I'd known a couple guys that gotten blown up essentially. They weren't friends of mine, but they were people that we saw. So they got killed. But I also used to do convoy security. Every once in a while, we'd go out on these truck convoys and we'd be in the back of the truck with our weapons, our rifles, protecting the convoy, making sure we don't get attacked. Luckily, we did not go over any if you ever heard of IEDs, improvised explosive devices that they hide them in the road, dirt roads, you drive over them and they explode.
It's like landmines?
Kind of, but they're little bombs that are homemade and they're triggered by, triggered by, those were big when I was over there. Thankfully, my never went over one. But yeah, we had some, I didn't have it as bad as other people, obviously, but we had there was a time where I did think I was going to get blown up. I was standing in the middle of an open lot waiting for a convoy to deliver some big storage containers. And it was the middle of the day and we started getting attacked. We started getting bombed. And these things flew like right over my head. And it sounded like it was going to land right on top of me. And I was trying to figure out which way to run. I was like, oh, where do I go? Where do I go? And I felt like this thing sounded like a small airplane flying over my head. And it ended up landing. I thought it was going to land right on top of me. And this was right after these guys got killed that we knew. And ended up landing like probably 100 yards away or something like that. Big dust cloud from the sand. And I went, oh, I'm going to run this way. So ended up running back to safety where my
Oh.
other fellow Marines were, and I was good. But there were some guys that got hurt that I knew that day because
Mm.
I don't know how many they shot, but they shot about like 10 rockets. They were like Russian rockets that they would use, and there's some guys that got injured that I knew, but no casualties from my platoon. But
Yes. Mm.
yeah, I
Yeah. I mean,
joining the Marines was an
yeah.
experience, even before
Yeah.
boot camp and all
Yeah.
that.
God is yeah, that goes to how God is so in control. And what was your highest rank?
So in the Marines, so I was in two branches of the military. I was in the Marines for 4 years, and then afterwards, I was in the Army National Guard.
Oh God, you couldn't get enough, huh? Okay, go ahead.
Well, it was life circumstance. I was hurting in life, so I ended up going
Yeah,
back into the
right.
military.
Got you.
But I was only E3 in the Marines. I was a Lance Corporal, and I ended up getting in trouble in my first duty station when I was stationed in Japan, and I got rank taken from me, which
Mm.
I was very bitter about at the time. And I thought it was very unfair because there were people that did way worse things and nothing happened to them. So I was
What did you
only
do?
20. So I was trying to help a friend out, and so when you're stationed overseas in a country like Japan, like you can only go so far away from base without getting permission. So I had a friend who was trying to go to this town that was about an hour and 15 minutes away from where our base was. And he was going to see this girl that he had known. And he was
God,
like,
it's always a girl. Okay, God.
yep.
Okay, God. It's always a
So
girl.
he was like, I need, because when you're a certain rank and below, you need to have a buddy to get back on base with. And this was the weekend. So I had to work on a Sunday, and this was like a Friday or Saturday night. He was like, hey bro, hey dog, can you come with me? I got this girl down here that and she got a friend. So you come with me so I can get back on base. I need a Liberty buddy, it was called. I need a Libo buddy to get back on base tomorrow or whatever. I'm like, hey, I got to work at 10 a.m. So because I worked on the flight line there in Japan. And he was like, yeah, we'll be back. She's got a friend too. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we get on this train and we go down there and we get to this town. And the girl he was going to see was like half white and half Japanese, but she spoke no English. I guess her father was in the Navy. That was the story. But she spoke no English. He promised there was a friend. I get there, it was this girl by herself. No friend, no nothing. Just him and her. And she was young. She was like barely 18 or something. And at the time, we're like 21. So I think she might have been underage even, but he was like hugging up on her and everything. And hey dog, let's get this hotel, dog. This and that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, I gotta get back to base. I got work in the morning at like 10 a.m. He's like, yeah, well, I got you. Let's go to the hotel room. I'm a third wheel. He's over here trying to like do things with the girl, and he's like talking to me like, hey, look at these legs, dog. Look at these legs. Look how thick she is, and this. And I'm like, bro, are you serious right now? I'm like, you just in front of me,
just right there. I mean, you right there, sitting right there,
and you teasing me because I don't got no girl over here.
Wow,
Yeah,
he's a bad friend,
right? So then the girl ends up leaving. He doesn't have sex with her. He doesn't do nothing with her. She leaves, and then he's like, oh, all right, we'll leave in the morning. So the next morning comes around. I'm packing up, getting ready to leave. He's on the phone. He's like, hey, dog, you think you can get a different Liberty buddy, get back on base? Because I'm going to try to, smash old girl. I'm going to try again.
So he just totally he just dissed you. Oh,
totally.
Yeah.
And the thing was, he was military police. That was his job. So he knew about getting off base and this and that. So I'm like, bro, are you serious? So he's like, oh, I'm gonna try to hook you up. I'm gonna get you a Libo buddy, dog. He's calling people, and everybody's like, no, I can't do it. No, I can't. My guys, my boys that I called couldn't do it, supposedly. So I had nobody. And I'm like, you know what? I ain't got time for this. I gotta go. So I go to the train station, and I just missed the train. And the next train wasn't coming for like another hour. And so I had to work at like 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m. I go to the train station at like 8 a.m., but I just missed this train. The next train is not coming till like 9:30. And it's an hour and 15-minute trip to get back to where I'm stationed at, and I got to work in an hour. So I'm not going to make it on time. And I'm running out of money, like Japanese yen, to use the payphone. And my cell phone had died at the time. So I couldn't call like my
You all screwed up.
I was all screwed up. So I've been like, all right, I'm just going to try to get on the next train and just try to get back, sneak into work, because nobody really should be working. It's a Saturday. And so I get back, and a friend of mine just happens to be coming back to base with his girlfriend. I jump in the car with them, go on base. They drop me off my barracks. I get dressed real quick. They drive me to the other end of the base where the flight line is, where I worked at. I try to sneak into work to where I work at. One of my high-ranking corporals is sitting in the office, waiting on me, basically. And I'm like, how the hell did he know? So then he's yelling, he's like chewing me out. He's like, why the hell you didn't call nobody, blah, 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 this and that. I'm like, this is what happened. And then I found out that the way they knew I wasn't there was one of our sergeants came over from the other area, the terminal where he worked at, to sign out a vehicle, saw that I wasn't there. Nobody was there, looked at the schedule. Oh, Kenner's supposed to be working. Where's he at? All of a sudden, everybody's calling me. My phone's dead. So after that, they passed it up to our higher ranking gunnery sergeant. And I had this other female sergeant that was in charge of me at the time. I had disrespected her about a month prior to that. Because she was yelling at me. She was yelling at me, talking to me very disrespectfully, and I didn't take it. So I told her, like, who the fuck you think you're talking to? So I had disrespected her. So she was waiting for me to mess up again. So
she was gonna get you. She was gonna get your lip back.
Mm-hmm. And I gave her a reason. They sent it all the way up to the colonel. I got a non-judicial punishment, they called it. They took my rank. They put me on restriction to the barracks for 60 days, all this stuff. And I tried to be honest to the colonel, like, sir, I was just trying to hang out, help a friend out. And the thing was, the friend I was helping out, he had already got stationed. He got sent back to the States to get stationed in North Carolina. So he was no longer there.
So you didn't have a chance to really, so you just went down only by yourself. You ain't
down by myself.
Have a chance to go down with you.
Nope, he didn't go down with me. And then he wasn't. And then on top of that, he tells me he never got to have sex with the girl.
All that for nothing.
All that for nothing. No friend. He didn't get nothing out of it.
Wow. But thank you for sharing that, Matthew. Because oh my goodness, But I want to, because I know we press for, I wish we could, be on longer, but I just want to make sure I cover some ground here. And thank you for your services, by the way.
Oh
that's not taken for granted at all. And I thank you for sharing, that experience, because I want to know how were you able to successfully transition from that, from that time of your life until going back into civilian life. Because a lot of people deal with PTSD and deal with so much trauma from that experience and don't get the help that they need. So did you take advantage of any resources while you transitioned into civilian life?
Well, I did, but not until the recent years. So when I first initially got out of the Marines, I did not really know about many resources, and I did not take advantage of any. I was actually stationed in California at the time, in Camp Pendleton, California. And when I got out, I thought I was going to go to Hollywood and be a big star at that time. I was only 23. Okay. And I had people in the military, in the Marines, telling me, "Oh, you should be an actor. You should," because I was always imitating higher ranking people and doing things. So no, I actually struggled. I actually lived in California for another 2.5 years after getting out of the Marines, but I struggled the entire time. I had bounced around from job to job, from like living area to different apartment to apartment. I was essentially living out of my car prior to leaving California. And I struggled, and I really had a hard time dealing with, maintaining certain jobs. I ended up selling cars and doing different sales jobs, but a lot of them were commission only. I struggled. I was actually pretty good at sales, but I just struggled dealing with people, struggled maintaining control.
With steady income.
But my temper, I had a real hard time maintaining my emotions at that time. And at the time, my grandmother was also sick, back here in the Midwest. And she ended up passing away while I lived out there, and I came home for a
I'm so
funeral.
sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah.
long time ago now, but so I came home for a funeral, and then that's when I decided to move back to the Midwest to be with my family and get back on my feet. So I moved back home to live with my parents for a while, get back on my feet, ended up meeting my current wife, and I ended up getting her pregnant. And we had only known each other for about a month, and I got her pregnant with my son, my oldest. And we pretty much been together since. So the stress started all over again, and I had to find a job that paid enough. I had to
Right.
also be a dad, and life got real. Like
Life got
again,
life. Life was life.
life got real again, and I had to make up for my irresponsible behavior.
Right. Oh, the recklessness. But
Yep.
so once you became, but once you decided to set that foundation and going through that transition and you're building your family, right? So where did the acting come in at? Because I want to make sure I get into that.
Yeah. So I'd always wanted to be an actor.
Acting, directing, all that stuff. We're going to talk about all that, piece it all together. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd always wanted to be an actor since high school. I did a play in 10th grade that really that everybody complimented me on, that really gave me the confidence saying, hey, this is what I want to do. But I ended up joining the military, and then I got complacent and I did not pursue it for like many years. So it wasn't until after I left California, came back home, I started going to school, and I went to Milwaukee Area Technical College, the same school I went to before joining the Marines, except I went to school for they have a television and video production program there. So my dad had told me about it, like, why don't you, instead of going to film school, because I was like, oh, I want to go to film school. But he was like, this is less expensive. You could use your GI Bill, your military benefits, whatever. And I'm like, how come you didn't tell me about this before? So I ended up going to school, spent about 4 years there getting because I got my gen eds first, getting a associate's degree from there. And but after I graduated, so I got to create content for school and acting, the things I was creating. Some of it got shown on like local public television station here that is owned by the school, actually. And so it got those juices flowing again. But once I graduated, I wasn't able to find work in that field. It was all my classmates are trying to get hired at local news stations, and there's limited jobs doing that, and the jobs aren't paying very well. So I went back to working regular jobs again. I started being depressed. I had 2 kids, and it wasn't until so I wrote a script during that time too, but I had no outlets. I didn't know how to go about following my dream.
Where to take it to.
So it wasn't until a cousin, he's actually my dad's cousin in Chicago. He's actually, his wife is my dad's cousin, so her husband. But he was posting stuff on Facebook about being an extra, doing background work on these different television shows that shoot in Chicago, like Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, Chicago PD. These are different television shows that were being shot in Chicago. And he's posting pictures of himself on set and being on these shows. And I'm like, how are you getting on these shows?
How can I get on? Yeah.
There was a family reunion, but I didn't get to attend it. So my dad had talked to him, and he was like, oh, he said, hit him up. He said, reach out to him and this and that. So I messaged him on Facebook. Hey, how are you, getting these roles? And he sent me to this Facebook page that was casting for extras. He was like, yeah, you just send a selfie, a picture, based on the casting call, what they're looking for. We're looking for real nurses or cops or people to play patients, whatever. And, looking for people between these ages, male, send a selfie to this email address, so on and so forth. So I did that for this one casting call, and I got booked right away. And you would have thought I got booked for a series regular on some major television show, the way I celebrated. I told my friends,
you celebrate any win. Yeah. I mean,
I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I was like, I got booked for Chicago Fire, to be on the episode of Chicago Fire. I'm gonna be on next week, this and that, blah, 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 blah. Go down to Chicago. Everybody's, oh, congratulations, and this and that. So I ended up being on the show, and I did my best to like make sure I was on camera right next to the person that's talking, the star, character that's talking. And I remember they had a clip of the show of me like standing right next to the main character that's talking, and it was on some like one of my sister or somebody took a picture of it, and I'm right there with the NBC logo on my chest, and I'm like, I posted it on Facebook and on social media, like, made my debut on Chicago Fire, blah blah blah, and people started giving me compliments like, hey, he looks like he should be doing background work for you. So that boosted my ego even more. So I kept on submitting to different roles on these different, as extra on these different shows. I started getting booked kind of regularly. And then I'm like, all right, I need an agent. So my cousin was telling me, yeah, this is the agent I'm signed with. So I ended up submitting my, headshots and stuff that I'd just gotten to them, and they signed me. So I started doing auditions for them. I eventually got booked for some print shoots and some commercials and stuff like that. It's actually funny because I got booked for a local commercial for the Wisconsin Lottery before I even started doing background work. It was something that same cousin had sent me. I went to an audition for this local casino. I didn't get the casino role, but they ended up saying they want to book me for this Wisconsin Lottery commercial. So that was like the first role I did. But then I started doing background work.
Okay.
And I got signed with an agent, started getting booked more regularly. Then I ended up getting another agent, same thing. And then I started creating my own content. And then I started networking with the local filmmaking community. And then I partnered up with a guy who became a friend of mine. We started making our own films. We co-wrote a film that we just premiered, and just started building from there. And now, I'm just trying to elevate.
Go up from there, right? So, real briefly, because like I said, we don't have much, but real briefly, I want us to discuss Diary of an Accomplice. Like, and I just want to kind of dig a little deeper into that, because I know you said you was raised by women, and I want to know, how did you prepare for that particular role that you played in that clip, or in that movie? And it's a multi-layered question. Like, how did you prepare for that particular role, and how did that resonate with you? Like, how did you get out of that character as well? Because there's a process of get out of that character, and just kind of give a little bit deeper into that particular movie.
Yeah. So initially I didn't want to play this role. Actually, I didn't write this film. I just I produced it, I acted in it.
Produced it. Okay.
Yeah. So the woman approached me about playing this character, and at first I didn't want to do it, but then I thought, believe it or not, this could be therapeutic for me playing this kind of role. I could learn how to deal with my own emotions, my own anger through this character. Granted, I've never done the things this character has done in real life, but I have thought about doing them, some of them, not all of them, but some of them. I have dealt with my own anger issues in real life. I have not hit a woman or done those things, but I've had quarrels with my lady or different women as a young man, and I have imagined doing some of the things that this character has done. And I'd also just thought of, I can use substitutions for the anger, the abuse. Like, I can use things that I'm really mad about in real life, or what I've dealt with certain family members or in-laws, even, because in this film, this character Melvin, he is always talking about Vicky, his wife's sister. I know your sister is doing this, talking about me. I know she is saying doing this. Well, I can relate to that, because in real life, I have had a sister-in-law who has talked about me and has, I've approached my wife and said, hey, I know your sister is talking all this crap or doing this or doing that. And I felt real anger about that. So when I'm playing this character, I just use those emotions, use that substitution to trigger that behavior.
Right. And use that as an outlet.
Right, exactly. And it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard at all to tap into the anger, but it was cringy for me to be slapping this woman and pretending, especially for the motivation for this character. So I had to use certain substitutions in my mind to elicit those emotions, and also had to look at my characters as not being a bad guy. I had to look at him as being like righteous in his own mind, that he feels like he's doing this because he has
Mhm,
to.
mhm,
He's
mhm.
not thinking that he's a bad guy. I had to not be judgmental towards that character that I'm playing, which I initially was, and just use his righteous thinking to pull out that behavior. So that's pretty much what I did to play Melvin.
Okay. To pay. All right. And how did you what was your process of transitioning from that role after after everything wrapped?
So while we were shooting, and this may sound bad, I guess, but me and the young lady who played my wife, we were laughing a lot in between takes. Like her and I both. We were laughing. You would have thought we were shooting a comedy.
Well,
Like
was that your method? Is that was your way of getting out of that
it,
role?
it was a way, right? It was a way of easing the tension, because it would have been a very somber shoot, very somber set had
Oh,
we
okay.
not been joking, because the subject matter is serious. So her and I had to like be silly with each other, and
Right.
it may sound bad, but we kind of like were doing like the Ike and Tina Turner type of thing. And she was being very silly herself. She was like, um, playing along, like, oh no, please don't hit, that. But we had to like crack jokes and just be silly and everybody was laughing, like everybody around
Right.
us was
I
laughing,
understood it to avoid like kind of,
being depressing.
being trapped, like being trapped into the psyche of that. So I get it.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And we laugh more shooting this movie than we did doing the comedic stuff that we've done.
Yeah. So
Um,
what is some other stuff? Like, can you share that real quickly? Some of the other projects you have going on and what upcoming?
yeah, so we right now on Amazon Prime, there's a film called that I am one of the leads in. It's called Sanguine Teeth on a Driftless Road, and it's about
Interesting.
four black vampires who go out to on a road trip on a cabin in the woods, and they're
Uh,
partying. It's a comedy. It's a horror comedy. It's not really
Interesting
scary.
concept. Yeah.
Yeah, I play Damascus, who is the OG vampire, who is, like, I'm mentoring all the other vampires, and I'm giving the history of from going back 2,000 years and what I've been through, and I'm like molding and lecturing and schooling the other guys to how they should behave and conduct themselves, and why we do certain things as vampires, the traditions and all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, we're also in this RV, and we're traveling to this cabin to have a nice relaxing weekend. But we're partying and we're doing drugs. But we end up being hunted by some vampire hunters, and we have to fight them and do all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
So a friend of mine, a white guy, actually wrote this movie, but the vampires are all black, and believe it or not, it's not cringy like you would think it would be when a white guy is writing for black characters. It's actually it's pretty good. Like he did a good job writing for the most part. He did a good job writing for these characters. So some of the dialogue is something black guys wouldn't say. It's something that some white guys may say, but other than that, it's good. It's not like cringy, stereotypical language.
Okay. Good. Good.
So you can find that on Amazon Prime. We also
Amazon.
released another film that him and I co-wrote called What Have We Won? It's going to be a 2-part film, part 1, part 2. We premiered part 1 on May 2nd at a local theater. Part 2 will be released most likely in August, and it's also a comedy, but my character is supposed to be a veteran with PTSD. So
Okay.
there are serious elements, but ended up being a comedy, like a thriller action comedy type of film.
Mhm.
But it's about 2 guys who are grown. My character's a veteran coming home from war with PTSD. He has a baby mama he has a daughter he can't support. He's bouncing around from job to job, kind of like I did in real life, but he's really struggling. And he has his best friend, his childhood best friend that he's roommates with, who has always been a loser. And they don't have their stuff together. So they end up acquiring some money and getting themselves together, and they end up moving out west to the country and buying land and wanting to like start over, except their past follows them. The way they got their money is not legit, and they end up being hunted essentially by people from their past. So they have to figure out how to get out of this situation and survive. So that's what that is about. I'm also in four films that are on Tubi, and
Okay.
they're called. I have smaller roles in those, but All About a Check, All About a Check 2, Family Code, and
Okay.
Let Me Be Season 2 is the biggest role that I'm in that series. So I play Caden in that. I'm the brother of one of the main characters who is trying to talk sense into my brother who is doing crazy stuff to the mother of his kids. So
Okay, gotcha.
So
Yeah, so yeah, make sure you check all these out. You know, he's giving you all of the things, all of the projects he's doing and already done. So make sure that you check out the information in my description box underneath this video as well. And make sure you follow Matthew on all social media platforms. And just make sure that when you on Tubi, go in the search bar and type up Matthew Kenner, and you will see all his movies there as well. So make sure that you support this brother right here. All right. And so I got your script, Matthew. I think we're going to start because, like I said, I want to make sure that I consider the time constraints that we have. So I want to make sure we get to this.
Okay. All right.
And hold on, let me I got to turn on the light because I can't see.
Yeah, I didn't even adjust my light a little bit.
Let me turn on the light. Real quick. I need more light. I mean, I'm trying to get the effect. So, but yeah.
I hope that's better.
No, I need it light.
Oh yeah, I did too.
On my end. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yes, I'm good on my end. So yes, so we're going to be doing a segment that I call Act the Part.
Okay.
Action.
All right, Matthew, I'm going to coach you on this one here because I know you're not without talent. So you got to make sure that you get this performance all you got, Matthew, because you never know who's watching. This can lead to bigger and better things. And you just never know. So I need for you to make sure that you just put your all into this. I need you to commit to this.
Okay.
Can you commit, Matthew?
Will do.
Can you commit? I need more enthusiasm. Can you commit, Matthew?
I can commit.
All right. Yes, you can do it. Yes. All right. Action. 2 years ago, promises was all I heard. Wait a minute. Let me finish.
Okay.
2 years ago, promise was all I heard out of your mouth. And now you want to walk away and tear down these walls in this house that I helped build, by the way. You used to tell me sweet things. I mean, sweet things in the morning time. Now all you want to do is just hurt me and think that everything is fine. I mean, you better be careful what you say to me. Yeah, because it might turn around on you. You better be careful. Be careful what you do to me. Somebody might do it to you. Now, who was there for you when your ass was out of work without a dime? All by myself, taking little man to church. I was doing that. I was doing that all by myself. So quick to hang up the phone when I step into the room. What's that all about? Now you want to turn all around? I'm getting tired of playing fool. So again, you better be careful what you say to me. Because it might turn around on you. And you better be careful what you do to me. Because somebody just might do it to you, bro. If the shoe fits, wear it. All right? I'm just letting you know. All right? If the shoe fits, wear it. Mm-hmm. What you gotta say?
I mean, look, 2 years ago, I didn't know you had male friends.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
Male friends.
Excuse you?
Yeah, I saw. Look, stop.
No, you ain't see a deal.
No. Wait a minute. Let me finish. Let me finish. 2 years ago, didn't know you had male friends. Off him in college. He thought I wouldn't find out because he went to college. 2 years ago, I didn't know you had male friends off up in college.
You're too dumb to go to college. That's why.
Wow. Okay. All right. But I'm not dumb enough too dumb to find out that you're still reaching out to some of them, Mrs. Busybody. Yeah, Mrs. Busybody.
Really?
Yeah. You. I'm not that dumb. Apparently, I can find that out. Yeah, you talking to your male friends. Used to listen to me when you were down and lost, but now you don't even respect me. Ever since I got laid off from my job. Are you serious? Like you better be careful. You better be careful. You better be careful what you say to me because it might turn around on you. Yep. You better be careful what you do to me too. Somebody just might do it to you. Now, who gave you money? Who gave you money when your ass was broke? Without a dime. Right here. Yep. Even though that little man is not my child, I made him mine.
Yeah, you did.
He ain't even mine.
Yeah. I give you that.
Stepdaddy of the year. Stepdaddy of the year. You don't even.
Yeah, I give you that. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's the first time you said that. First time you acknowledged. Yeah, that's nice to do that.
So, okay.
You're so quick to run to your friends. You just run to your friends and talk about what we do up in this house, and then you want to party all night long, and I mean, what are we even talking about? What the hell are you even talking about?
That's what I'm saying. What you talking
about? You just want to party. You just want to party all night.
What you talking?
Look. All I gotta say is you better
a lot.
So I can't talk. Look, all I gotta say is you better be careful. You better be careful what you do to me, what you say to me, because it might turn around on you. You better be careful what you do to me, because you better be careful. Somebody might do it to you.
You better be careful. That's all. You better be careful.
No.
You know,
if the shoe fits, wear it. You better be careful. That's all I gotta say. All these male friends and partying, and
you better tread lightly up in there. That's all I know. You better tread lightly up in here.
You should look in the mirror.
Oh, you got a lot of sass. Okay, you got a lot of sass all of a sudden. Where you get all this backbone? Wow. Like I said, you better be careful.
This disrespect. Ever since I got laid off, this is what I got to do.
Yeah, because you broke now. You know, kid, you. I when the last time you paid a bill up in here, Jody?
It doesn't matter. Like Melvin is not here. Melvin is not here to be, messing with my mom. To be, worried about what I pay. It doesn't matter. I'm still a man. I'm still a man in this house. All right.
Hi. Okay, I'll let you have that one. Matthew Kenner, y'all. Come on now. Oh, that was a cold read, ladies and gentlemen. I've been learning that from yeah, good job. It was a
good song to do that to you.
Yeah, I did not. I had you in mind. I had you in mind, and you pulled it off just like I expected. So thank you for playing with me. Yeah, I normally do another game called This or That. We got to do that next time. I'm considering your time again, and I have two more final questions to ask before we go. So next time you come on, I'm going to do the This or That. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So now, I wanted to know. I like to ask this, and I love the responses that I get. If you have 5 people, if you have the opportunity to have 5 people at the seat of your table, dead or alive, who would they be and why? And I need the why for each one that you choose. 5 people.
Okay. So Malcolm X.
I get all the problems. Yeah.
Because he was revolutionary with his thinking. Like he was around during a time where, civil rights period, they call it. And he was fighting for Black people to have a better life in this society, but he wasn't doing it in the orthodox method that, someone like Martin Luther King was doing.
Mhm.
He was
Mhm.
like, protect yourself at all means necessary, but he was very educated. He came from a background where he was in the streets, but he was also book smart. He educated himself while being in prison. I would love to talk to him about how he got to that point, like how he was able to educate himself while being in prison. He read in the dark where he strained his eyes so much he needed glasses as a result. He he was very charismatic. He could speak. He had a wide vocabulary, but he was very, his tone and his diction and his voice. He was a very great orator. Orator.
Got it.
And I would love to pick his brain and listen to his story out of his own mouth, even though I read the autobiography back, when I was a kid. So definitely him. I would like Martin Luther King to be there too, because he was nonviolent, he was peaceful, but he was also a very extremely intelligent man who wanted better for.
You said Martin?
Martin Luther King.
Okay.
Right. But I'd like to see the contrast between him and Malcolm X.
Yeah.
How they would interact with each other
At that moment, yeah.
Because they had class. Even though they had different ideologies, they still would have coexisted, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Respectfully, and it would have been fine. But I would love to meet Michael Jordan, because I grew up idolizing him as an athlete, but I've heard some negative things about him, but I still want to see for myself. So but I could learn so much from him as far as his drive to be successful, to do more, not just in athletics, but just like how to be disciplined and just be a successful human being all around. Like he'd be somebody I just would want to talk to if he was going to be friendly, of course, because I've heard some bad stuff about him. But
right.
Also, you said 5?
Yes.
I love Tupac.
I get that a lot too.
Yeah, because of his versatile personality. Like he could have been a gangster one minute, he could have been very vulnerable, he was very poetic the next minute. He was an actor, he's very artistic, but he was a great writer, musician, and rapper. So I would have loved to see how it would be to hang out with him and hear his story, pick his brain, the whole nine. Also, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was, he was just, I have more people that I could have gone into history with that I would say I'd like, as far as an actor, Denzel Washington, I would like to have him sitting at the table too. But those are the people.
Five. Oh, that was 6.
Okay, so
take one off.
That's 6.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Denzel for number 5 then.
Okay. All right. Now, who would get the big piece of chicken and why?
Out of those people?
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Denzel. Wait a minute. Denzel, because he played Malcolm X. He had studied Malcolm X to portray him, and he did a phenomenal job portraying him. And he is older than any of those men were when they died.
Right.
So he has more life knowledge at this point.
True.
They probably had.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I like that answer, and I like all the selections. So thank you for that. And so this is a question I take from the late James Lipton from Inside the Actors Studio. So Matthew Kenner, when you enter into the pearly gates, what would you want God to say?
Great job. Great job, my son. Whatever. If I'm, if God's called me his son or anything like that, you did the best you could. You did great things. You left the world a better place than when you entered it. And you loved your family, and you took care of your parents, your kids, even your grandparents to an extent, and great job. You weren't perfect, but you did the best you could.
Amen.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, and I hope
Kind of
you
get
hear that
emotional a little bit thinking about that.
Yeah. I hope you hear that too, Matthew. I really hope you hear that too. Yeah, I hope that he receives you, you know, from your lips to his ears. So I hope you receive that as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
So, and I also wanted to, let you know from the time that we spoke and you was able to share so much, you was able to pack so much. I mean, we only been here for a little over an hour, and I hope your son doesn't be mad at me. But but I just
you.
really
Your mom's there.
appreciate. Yeah. Okay. Good. I appreciate everything we was able to unpack in this over an hour, and I just wanted to just make sure that I gave you your flowers while you were here, and just
Thank
make
you.
sure that they're well deserved. So um just make sure you look out for Matthew Kenner's projects, Diary of an Accomplice, and also all the other projects that he's on, whether he's acting, directing, writing, producing, he's doing all those things. So make sure that you support him. And do you have any final words before we
I would say to anybody, you never always follow your dreams and your passions. Always believe in yourself, always bet on yourself. You're never too old to follow your passions. Do your best to count your blessings and be happy. And that's something I got advice I got to give to myself as well. Think about how fortunate you are and be happy. Don't spend life being mad, being unsatisfied. Go for what you want and be a good person. Be kind, be a good person. Those things are challenging a lot, but do your best to do them and treat people the way you want to be treated.
absolutely very well said, Matthew. Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Kenner, y'all. Yeah. So much. I really do appreciate you entering this platform, and I hope that I see you again. And maybe hopefully you stop by next week because I'm celebrating. I'm going to be a year on the 29th will be a year since I've been on YouTube, a
Oh,
content creator.
congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. So I'm
Yeah.
having a little celebration next Friday. So you could pop up, if you can, I'm gonna have the flyer up so you see it. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
just send me an invite. Just
yeah,
shoot
I
me an
will.
invite and
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna
go
post
up.
it. So thank you so much. So Matthew Kenner, y'all, thank you
Thank you
so
for having
much.
me.
Yeah, and God bless you.
You too. Thank you. God bless. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Yeah. So thank Matthew Kenner, ladies and gentlemen. I think that I just appreciate him coming on because I think a lot of his story resonated so much with me. And so a lot of times when I get that sense of nostalgia from some of the guests that I have with me, it just is even more of a blessing that I can have people that I can relate to that I see on the screen, and they sitting with me and I'm able to relate to them and we're able to have these type of discussions. So I just am so grateful. And it's such a blessing to have people like Matthew on. And so I hope that you can receive because and I really want you to receive what he was saying about how he was able to evolve from the person, the kid that was bullied and had anger issues, and he was able to channel that anger into his career, and how he was able to allow that to be an outlet for him to be able to censor that and learn how to pick his battles for it. So I just appreciate how he was able to unpack that as well. So I really thank you so much for your support. I thank you so much, Matthew. Turn your phone off. I really appreciate everyone who came to support me, whether you in the chat, whether you in the bushes or you're about to catch the replay. Please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel, y'all. I'm trying to get as many subscribers as I can to get to my 1,000, and I want to get as many viewerships as possible. So please just continue to support. And I just want to give a special shout out to Miss Stevie, who has I was able to connect with Matthew through her. So I do appreciate that as well. So that is someone that I can continue to network with. So I just want you to continue to tune in because I'm going to be having an interview this coming Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Price McGraw. He is a truck driver as well as the author of a book called Men Are Dumb. So I'm sure that we're all looking forward to finding out how dumb they really are and what was the concept behind that book and behind that title. So make sure you tune in on this Saturday, May the 23rd, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I talk to Price McGraw. So, but in the meantime, I'm going to bid you adieu, and just look out for me whenever I, decide to come on in between my interviews. I might just do that. You know how I do. And in the meantime, have a good